All right. So, Rachel here, doing things a little differently. I'm going to give you a little bit of extra squee as I tell you all about my weekend in Columbus, Ohio for this year's GalaxyCon. If you guys are aware, if you've listened to the most recent episode that came out before you're hearing this, you know that I'm currently dealing with a new medical issue, and it is taking up quite a bit of my free time, which, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do to get better. But that being said, I'm going to try to record this in pockets and then edit it all together. So I'm recording this on my phone, actually, as I'm driving to work right now, because right at the moment, I don't have the time to sit down and just, like, talk about everything all in one sitting. And Holly is sick at the moment, so yeah, we're not going to be doing a regular episode. It's going to be a little extra squee, and then our last episode of 2024 will be back to the usual with your feedback and all that. So don't worry, we got your feedback about the Wizard of Oz and all that fun stuff, so we'll get to that in the next regular episode. But anyway, GalaxyCon Columbus 2024, second weekend of, I guess first full weekend of December. Where has the time gone? I do not know. This is my third year going to this particular convention, I believe. Chauncey went with me, but not to the actual con the first time. Last year I went by myself, and then this year Chauncey went and actually went to the convention. So that was pretty exciting. There were actually people that he wanted to see that didn't necessarily overlap with mine. Some of them did, but so yeah. Of course, you know, Columbus from Indy, easy enough. Get on 70, head east until you reach Columbus. Of course, once I get into Ohio, that means that I have to stop at Tim Hortons, which I did. Regardless of what Charles Skaggs may say, I happen to like Tim Hortons, thank you very much. Especially the Timbits. So there. Love you, Charles. So yeah, got to, Chauncey and I had to drive separate because he had to work. And I was able to take the day off. So I was able to leave much earlier than him. Plus he was able to be there when some Christmas presents got delivered to the house, so he could safely bring them inside. So that worked out kind of well. But this year we stayed at the Hyatt. Usually we stay at the Hilton, but this year, by the time we got around to booking the hotel in the hotel block, the Hilton was full. It didn't have any rooms available. So we ended up going to the Hyatt instead, which is still connected to the convention center, which is great. I will give it that. That being said, and the hotel room was great. I will give it that as well. The beds were really nice. There were plenty of outlets, both standard plug outlets and USB, which, you know, I'm glad that a lot of designers, you know, interior designers are figuring out that's the thing, although now USB-C is kind of becoming the thing. So it's like, great, you've caught up, but you're still a little behind. Yeah, the beds are really nice. The shower was really nice. Great water pressure, you know, constant hot water, which is always a good thing. I wish I got video of it, but something really cool with the beds is the beds are slightly raised off the ground on these platforms, but right underneath the lip of the platform were light, and they were motion activated. Like, if you had to get up in the middle of the night or something, like go to the bathroom or something like that, the minute you got out of bed and you walked by the light, it would come on, and it was just bright enough for you to be able to get around without, like, running into crap. So I thought that was really cool. It's just one of those little things that's like, hey, this is not something I've seen before, but it was kind of awesome. Getting from the hotel where you park, if you want to self-park, the garage is technically, like, down around the corner, like a block, and it's walkways. You've got walkways that cut through, go by a couple other hotels, and then feed eventually into either the convention center or the hotel, which, since it was cold outside most of the weekend, that was a good thing, although those walkways are not heated or anything, but, you know, it is what it is. And I didn't mind a little walk. It was nice to be able to go park, leave my car, grab my stuff, go. And we got a discount on the parking for staying at the hotel, so that's good as well. Let's talk about the elevators at the Columbus Hyatt. Most of the time, by the time we got to, like, you know, Saturday, which was obviously the busiest day, we would have to wait. There would be a wait for the hotel, the hotel elevators, which, understandable, to a point. They just have the one set of elevators. It's 4. Obviously, when you've got a lot of people coming and going, those can get full really quickly. They weren't very large elevators for one. And by the time we had to check out and get all of our stuff out of the hotel room on Sunday, like, people were waiting 15, 20, 30 minutes for an available elevator just because they were so overwhelmed. Eventually got to the point where they were sending people down to, like, the freight elevator. Like, an elevator would, like, stop, and if it had space for, like, a person, even if it said it was going up and you needed to go down, you needed to get on the elevator. Because it's like, once you're on, good. Then at least once you're on, eventually it will get to the floor where you need to get off. But because so many people were checking out and they had all their luggage and carts full of stuff, you know, one person would take up the space of like 2 or 3 people with all their stuff. So yeah, I've stayed in a lot of different hotels with different elevator configurations and stuff, but there was just something really off about these elevators, that it just did not seem like they were planned effectively for a hotel that's connected to a decent-sized convention center in a decent-sized city, if that makes sense. For those of you that may travel quite a bit and stay at hotels, you may know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, I don't know what the exact story is there, but just as nice as the room was, and, you know, checking in, checking out was really easy. I ate at the restaurant/bar the first night. The food was good. You know, the people working there were friendly. And again, like I said, I didn't mind the walk from the car to the parking garage from the hotel, but the elevator situation just, like, I don't know. There was just something off about it, and everybody seemed to feel that way. And it wasn't like just like the usual, like, oh, it's Sunday, last day of the convention, and we're all tired and that sort of thing. Like, just everybody seemed to be aware that there was just kind of something not right about the elevators and the way that they were handling the load, I guess. So yeah, preferably next year, I think we're gonna go back to the Hilton. Hopefully, you know, that's the case. So yeah, Columbus Hyatt Regency. Figure out something with the elevators. Yeah, obviously they're kind of built into the hotel, so it's not like an easy fix, but I don't know. There was just something on there. But anyway, that's enough kvetching about the hotel. And I think I'm almost at work now. I think that's where I'm going to stop for this particular recording session, and we will pick up next with the first day of GalaxyCon. That's Friday. And we're back. All right. So, Friday, first day of GalaxyCon. I get there about noonish. Still can't check into the hotel yet, but I can go get my badge starting at 1. So I hang around for a little bit, eat some lunch, and then I go and find the info booth, which is where the press can go pick up their badges, and also coincidentally go to pick up our FastPass buttons. GalaxyCon offers, first of all, they offer a number of badge types and tiers, but they also offer, Disney fans, you know what FastPass, well, it's not called that now. It used to be called FastPass, which is essentially another separate line for something that is shorter than the regular line. So, if you're going to get in line for, say, George Takei, while he may have a super long line that may even get capped, there's going to be right next to it a much shorter line. Usually it's just a straight line. It's not one that goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But you can get that either if you do VIP badge, or if you stay in the hotel room block, that automatically comes with FastPass, 1 per room. So yeah, you pick that up at the same place that you pick up FastPass, so that was convenient. I have to stand in another line. Really, at 1:45, they were supposed to do a ribbon cutting, kind of a grand, this year's event has now begun type thing, where they had, like, the head of GalaxyCon, and I think maybe, like, the mayor of Columbus or something, some politicians, county representatives, I don't know. It's Ohio. I barely know my own representatives here in Indiana. And then, like, the mascot to their local hockey team, which I realized I knew it was hockey, but I didn't know what the mascot was or what the team was called until I saw somebody later wearing, like, a T-shirt or something. It's the Blue Hornets. So I guess it's like the Columbus Blue Hornets. That's their hockey team. What Blue Hornets have to do with Ohio is beyond me. I'll have to ask Charles and or Dan. And then a handful of some of the celebrities that were already there. As you know, some celebrities, some are only there for 1 day, or maybe Saturday, Sunday only. Some are Friday to Saturday. It just depends on what the celebrity's availability is. So in this case, this included Martin Cove from things like the OG Karate Kid and Cobra Kai and Rambo and some other 80s action flicks. And guy from The Walking Dead. I didn't watch The Walking Dead, so I don't know. I don't know who he was or who he is. So sorry. Now I'm forgetting who the third person was. one of the wrestlers, one of the more modern wrestlers, not one of the OGs, like a McFoley or something like that. What's his face? Jonathan Freeman. There we go. I was like, I know it starts with a J. Get it there eventually. Jonathan Freeman, the one and only voice of Jafar, from anything and everything that Jafar has ever appeared in, from the original Disney animated movie to video games and all sorts of things. Obviously not live action Jafar. That's the one exception. But he's got, besides being the voice of Jafar, he's also got quite a list of stage credits as well. So I got to talk. I actually ended up getting to talk to him because after the ribbon cutting, we invited the press to one of the smaller rooms and said, "Hey, these people are going to be here, and this is going to be your opportunity to maybe get some content from them, and we don't know, it's going to be a lot of time, but I'm prepared," that sort of thing. And so when Jonathan Freeman was available, I jumped at the chance and had a very nice chat with him. Talked to him for almost 15 minutes. And I've got video of the entire thing, so that'll go up on the YouTube channel. So you'll be able to see that. Hopefully soon-ish. I'm so behind on editing video. It's not even funny. Video is much more time-consuming to edit than audio. So those of you that have experience doing both, y'all know what I'm talking about. So yeah. But that was cool. And then, by then, the show was open, and Chauncey was not there yet, so I think I went into the vendor hall, did a quick up and down a few of the aisles, wandered over to the celebrity area to kind of scope out the layout over there, see who was where. I caught a glimpse of Weird Al through the curtains. I got all like, that's Weird Al. Because obviously that's a big deal for me. They had Weird Al set up. They were doing like a Carrie Ellis Cabin Swift type thing, where instead of his table just kind of being out there, they had it surrounded by curtains, and then, when it was your turn, you just went in there, and they just made it a bit more intimate and personable. You didn't have to worry about, people trying to take pictures and stuff far away, yelling things, that sort of thing. But we weren't meeting Weird Al that day, but I did get to see him through breaking the curtain. I was like, and at the same time, so kind of like, it hadn't sunk in yet. It hadn't sunk in yet that I was going to see and meet Weird Al again, get an opportunity to have my MacGuffin. For those of you who do not know what I'm talking about, back in May of 2012, Chauncey and I saw Weird Al when he came through Indianapolis, and he was doing quick meet and greet by his bus, which was parked outside the venue. So went to his line, and when I got our turn, we walked up, and he was kind of chilling in the doorway, sitting on steps that walked up to the inside of the bus. And I proceeded to lose all faculties of speech and coherence, and what my name was, where I lived, what planet this was, what year it was, that sort of thing. So Chauncey did pretty much all the talking, because I was just like, not one of my finest moments. And ever since I've been like, I need a do-over! I've been waiting 12 and a half years for this do-over. And now it was here. And I don't think it quite sunk in yet. This was the thing that was going to be happening that weekend. once I got the layout, I went back to the room, because by then it was late enough I could check into the hotel. So I went and checked in, got my key, went up to the room, make sure the keys worked, plugged my phone in so it could charge. We got all my stuff from the car, brought it back, talking head typing and doing a unbagging / unboxing of the swag bag that I got, that they gave all the press folks in the little green room thing that they put us in with some of the celebs. And I called Chauncey to find out what his ETA was. He was still, quite a bit of ways away. Like I said, he caught up with work, but then he realized there was going to be some packages delivered that he didn't want to have sitting outside our door for the entire weekend, so he just decided to wait till those got delivered, which is good. And Christmas presents, yay! So I went back out. I went back out to the show floor, and wandered around, looked for some people that I knew, scoped out some booths I potentially went to purchase from later and or put on my Christmas list and our birthday list. Christmas is really close now, but hey, it's going to be my birthday before you know it. And just kind of, then I was getting hungry. It's been a long time since lunch, and so I was hungry, so I went back to the hotel and went to the bar / restaurant and ordered some food and a beverage and watched sports. I forget what was on TV. I think it was college volleyball, and college basketball, I think. It was college sports because it's Friday. And that was fun. And so I ate, and then went back up to the room and chilled for a while, and then Chauncey showed up, and before that, before I went to eat, I went and got his badge, because we paid for his. Obviously, it's press. Mine was paid for, or comped, whatever, how you call it, complimentary, from the convention, but we paid for Chauncey's, and most of the day, the line for badge pickup had been stupid long, but thankfully, later in the evening, it was practically walk-up, so I was able to go and collect his badge, because I had the QR code for it in my email, within my email, so that's good. So yeah, once he finally got there, I told him where to go park and how, you gotta walk from the parking garage and all that fun stuff. And then he got there and we got settled in. He ended up eating my leftovers, like he does, and got settled in for the night. I think we ended up watching History Channel, I think, and it was a combination of the Unexplained, that's hosted by Dan Aykroyd, and then I forget what the other show is called, but it's similar, and it's hosted by Danny Trejo, which was funny because that came on, and Danny Trejo is doing his little spiel about mysteries of the universe or whatever. And I looked at Chauncey, I was like, hey, we could go down to the show floor tomorrow, we'll walk up to him and say, hey, I was watching your show last night. Because he was there that weekend. That was kind of funny. So yeah, we got settled in. Crashed, at least I did. Oh yeah. After getting cleaned up and after, being in the car all day and all that fun stuff, it's like I cleaned up and then I just crashed. So I could get up right early Saturday morning. because I wanted to knock out at least one autograph before Chauncey got up. And so yeah, so I got up bright and early and went to Starbucks. That's right there, and while I was waiting, I was catching up on what happened on the Eras tour in Toronto, night one. The last but one show of the Eras tour, and then kind of chilled. Once the doors were open, I went in. Actually, I went in the doors that were closest to. It would be door A, because there's A, B, and C, and once you're inside, it's they got some dividers walls up, but you can walk from one end to the other. It just really depends on which section you're looking for. You're looking for the vendor floor, you probably want to go in B. If you're looking for the celebrities, go in C, walk all the way back. If you want the gaming stuff, you'll walk in A. And then I figured out, let's go in A and then work my way over. So that's what I did. And I walked over, eventually got over to Phil. Did Phil? No, I did Jeff Ward first, who is currently on the live action adaptation of One Piece, I believe, is the anime. I don't do anime other than Studio Ghibli, so I used to watch Sailor Moon back in the day, but and Pokemon, obviously. I play Pokemon though, but that's it really for my exposure to anime. I just assume if I see someone in costume that if I don't recognize it, it's either a video game or anime. So, and probably 9 times out of 10, I'm probably right. So yeah, but I got Jeff Ward's line first. Even with the fast pass, it was a while before he showed up. Which, you never know with these things. Because celebrities, they have some, a little bit of control, but sometimes they don't, because it depends on, whether they're coming from maybe a working gig, or if they're coming from home, or they're coming from a vacation or something. And, people, they tend to have people that plan their travel for them. So, just because Jeff was scheduled to be there Saturday, Sunday, he could have arrived Saturday morning and came straight from the airport. I don't know. He could have arrived late last night and really, wanted to try to get a decent, as close to 8 hours sleep before he came down. I don't know. And I'm not going to ask, because I'm not going to be asking about actors' personal lives and that sort of thing. It's not my business. But yeah, he eventually showed up, which was cool. But of course, I was getting his autograph because he was in the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He is Deke Shaw, who ultimately turns out to be the future grandson of Fitzsimmons. So, Leo Fitz and Jenna Simmons. So of course I've got my Marvel sign thing that I've been collecting all my MCU autographs on. So he was like, where would you like me to sign? And most of the time I tell him, you can sign anywhere, just not in this space that I have reserved for Clark Gregg. But in this case I was like, you should probably sign right here next to your grandmother. Because I have Elizabeth Henstridge's autograph for when she was a PopCon several years ago. He's like, oh yes, right next to Grandma. So he signed right next to her, and I was like, yep, now I just need your grandpa, and then I'll have the set. I thought that was funny. It was like, here, sign next to your grandma. It's like him and Elizabeth are like the same age in real life. Timey-wimey time travel they did in the last season. He wrote All My Lemons instead of All My Love. Which again, an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reference. I guess you could have wrote all my Zima as well, but copyright, trademark, I don't know. But that was fun. So it was nice. I'm getting a lot of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I got a lot of them. I still don't have Clark Grant, but slowly but surely, I am getting all my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. autographs. Only a matter of time and travel, patience and money. I'm going to get that Clark Grant autograph. You all know me. If I am nothing but. And for now, I'm going to pause, run some errands. We'll be back. And we're back. Continuing with our Friday adventures after getting a Jeff Ward autograph. I hightailed it over to the corner where they had placed Phil Dunster, a.k.a. Jamie effing Tot from AFC Richmond in the show Ted Lasso. One of his TV teammates, Christo, was also supposed to be there, but he canceled, unfortunately. So while I have started my Ted Lasso autograph collection, I had to start with one, which is a good blessing and a curse. That means I got to spend that money elsewhere. That's coming. I'll tell you about that in a little bit. So yeah, I told him that I'd only started watching professional footy, as it were, in like the last year and a half, 2 years. But because I do watch that, watching the show, a lot of it made way more sense. Knowing the football terms, at least some of the football terms. I still can't quite figure out offsides, but whatever. It's all good. He's like, oh yeah, who do you support? I'm like, oh, Inter Milan. He's like, oh, you you got family there or something? Like, no, I just got a friend he lives there. His family's been Inter Milan fans for ages. So we're all me into the fold. Thank you, DJ Deck. He's like, well, it's a good time to be a fan of theirs. I'm like, yeah, it is. So he was nice. And so yeah. So I got those two autographs. And then I went back up to the hotel room to drop off said autograph. So I wasn't carrying those around anymore. And by then, Chauncey was up. So I decided to just kind of kick back for a little bit and wait for him to get all ready for the day. And then we went back down, and I gave him the quick tour of of the convention and the layout, showing him where stuff was, that sort of thing. The badge pickup. Now, this probably will not make sense unless you know the layout of the Greater Columbus Convention Center, but Saturday badge pickup, the badge pickup tables were at the main, right inside the main entrance of the convention center, which is on the north end. And the line for badge pickup stretched from there all the way to the other end, past the entrance to Hall A, up the stairs, past security, because they had metal detectors that everybody had to go through. So past the metal detectors, through that part of the convention center, which is where all like the more like where you'd have like your corporate type things. There were a couple of smaller conventions happening at the same time. There were more corporate like, so they were using like those smaller like meeting room, ballroom type rooms. So, past those, and right to the doors on the second floor, where the restaurant in our hotel was. There is a set of doors right there by the restaurant/bar that you could walk out in the convention center if you're in the convention center. And if you make a sharp turn right, that takes you to the skywalk that leads you to the parking garage. Or if you go forward, it takes you into the, the more, like I said, corporate-y type convention spaces. And that was not a straight line, by the way. In several spots, they had it looping around, like back and forth, switchbacks. That's what we would call that in theme park terms, where the line only goes so far and then it turns and then you kind of U-turns and goes back the other direction. So yeah, that was a very, very, very long line for badge pickup. I felt so bad for those people. Like, I have not seen lines like that since I think the anniversary year for Gen Con, where it would go from will call to all the way through the convention center, out the doors that are right there across the street from the baseball stadium, out and around the convention center. So, yeah, I am so glad that we did not have to wait in that to pick up any sort of badges, because that was stupid long. But, you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. So, oh, my goodness. So yeah, we bypassed all those people, because we're on our badges and walk right on down to the convention, go through security, and walk down to the convention, down to the floor, and, I gave them the quick tour around the vendor hall, and like wrestling's over here, and the tattoo people are here, and here's all the gaming, and then here's where the vendors start. You got like your the front half-ish here. You've got like your vendors that maybe you're selling like lightsabers or Funko Pops, kind of your mass-produced type things, with the exceptions obviously. And then like the back half was more like your independent artists, authors, crafters, that sort of thing. People making stuff by hand, and the like. And then as you went further north, eventually the far north end, up towards the front, you had your Star Wars groups, so your local 501st and Rebel Legion, and then your Ghostbusters, which all of their setups were really cool. I love seeing what the regional groups have as far as what they bring for their booth setups. It's different every time. The Star Wars has some really great props and photo ops and stuff. The Ghostbusters as well. They had several vehicles, not just Mecha One. Lots of props, stuff like that. So really cool. There was a guy there with his custom paint. I don't know if it was a paint job or a wrap or maybe both. And I don't remember the make and model of the car, but he had it designed to look like Daenerys' dragon after it became a White Walker. So it was really cool. And then he had this like huge fiberglass-ish, I guess, fiberglass statue of the dragon with the Night King writing on it. So that was cool. And then there was the guy that owns the DeLorean. He was there, and I don't don't know if it's like him, if it's like a group of people that like own this stuff kind of collectively, and then like, you know, you can like rent or have like their vehicles depending on what you want at your event. I've seen the DeLorean before, and usually their DeLorean setup is slightly more like decorated. It's not usually just the car. But this time I think they brought the car and then focused more on, because I'm sure they were limited on, you know, how much they could bring based on, transport and stuff like that, I'm sure. So I think what they focused on instead was what was on the other side of their booth, which was their Jurassic Park setup, which was very cool. Yeah, I mean, it looked like they walked into Universal Studios, into like the Jurassic World / park part, and just like stole a bunch of stuff and just walked out with it, and they're like, this is ours now, and we're going to take it to conventions where people can take pictures with the stuff. Because they had the Jeep, they had like an emergency vehicle, they had several dinosaur puppets, just like what Universal uses. I mean, yeah, puppets, air quotes, they're dinosaurs. They're dinosaurs. I'm doing very big air quotes that you can't see. But that was really cool. I really wish we'd had time, Chauncey and I, to go and do the photo op with all the Jurassic stuff. But we just ran out of time. Because there's just so much to do, so much to see, and no matter how much you try to plan ahead, you know, plans are just what you have to, I guess, try to work with until the real world comes along and says, like, surprise! Just kidding on your plan. All right. Let's see. Friday, collected Chauncey. Getting a feel for everything. He doesn't do these things very often, so, but we did separate for a little bit so that he could go and get a, pardon me, post-con fatigue is legit. He wanted to go get a pro photo with Margin Cove. And funnily enough, and this was his idea, Chauncey brought his jiu-jitsu gi with him. For those that don't know, Chauncey has been doing jiu-jitsu for like 3-4 years now, something like that. And he is, you know, he's just doing it for exercise. He's not looking to be competitive or anything. That's why, you know, he's only leveled up like twice in belts, because that's not a big concern for him. But he just thought, even though they're different disciplines, karate, you know, obviously karate kid, and jiu-jitsu, they're different disciplines, he still thought it would be cool to be like, you know, wearing his actual jiu-jitsu gi. Not a costume, this is the legit thing he wears when he goes to jiu-jitsu every week. And so he did. He went and had his photo. Apparently Martin was at first a little confused, wasn't sure if it was legit, and then they were all like, check it out, and they got this really cool. Both look like they're ready to, like, you know, take on somebody, pose in the photo, which is really cool. So we need to do like several like mini costume changes throughout the weekend. Like, none of us technically cosplayed, but switch out shirts or whatever. I mean, I changed clothes partway through the day Friday when I got there because I was dressed for the cold outside. And what sure inside with all those people, it was a little warm, so I ended up switching to slightly less insulated layers. So after that, Chauncey switched out his top, lost the gi top part of it, switched out his shirt, and he put on the shirt that I got him for the holidays. He's not really a sweater person per se, because he gets warm really easily. So if he's wearing a sweater, it's probably because he's going outside. But he's not a wear a sweater around the house type of dude. But I needed something holiday-ish, festive for Christmas for him to wear. So I happened to find this T-shirt at a thrift store that had this like old, probably like 70s like RV camper type thing, all decked out in lights and has like a tree strapped at the top, and it's all decked out for Christmas. Looks like Clark Griswold got his hands on it. And I thought that was kind of cool because growing up, his mom grew up traveling around with her parents, Chauncey's grandparents, in an RV, in a motorhome that his grandpa, Papa, that's what we all called him, Papa, had essentially built himself. He took like the shell of something and created this motorhome, and then eventually they parked it permanently at our cabin up at the property up in Michigan next to the cabin, and it became like a secondary sleeping quarters for folks until it eventually, a few years ago, it just got so worn down with the elements and the harsh Michigan winters, and then being near the lake and all that stuff. It just got so out of shape that it wasn't worth keeping anymore. So they ended up selling it for scrap metal or whatever. But my mother-in-law grew up, riding around in that thing, and then, as a kid, Chauncey remembers sleeping in it. I mean, it's one of the first times that when we first started going to Silver Lake, when we first started dating, I think my very first trip, we slept inside on the floor on like an air mattress. But then after that, we started sleeping in the camper in the motorhome. So yeah, there's a lot of memories tied with those types of vehicles, I guess. So I got in that from the first store, and so he put on that. Then I put on my I can't say ugly Christmas sweater because it's not ugly by any means. In fact, I think it's adorable. But it's a sweatshirt that I again thrifted several years ago. And it's green, and it's got little bells tied on it, so, when I walk around, it goes ding, 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 ding. But it's got this image of, like, a tree and some presents, and on top of that are heads of various animals, like, wearing, like, bows and stuff. So there's, like, a couple of cats, which you'd expect, some dogs, including a corgi. This is the whole reason I bought it, because I got a corgi, and also got a sloth on there. So it's kind of an eclectic collection of animals that make up like this Christmas tree image on this sweatshirt. So, but of course, with corgi, that automatically makes it not ugly, but the most adorable sweater on the entire planet. But that's my sweatshirt that I wear for the holidays, and the whole reason that we needed our holiday gear is because we were going to have a photo in a wrestling ring with Mick Foley, who would be dressed as Santa Claus, or as he calls himself, Saint Mick. I just thought that was the funniest thing. I thought it was a cool opportunity. Mick Foley, he's old school wrestling, and has been retired for premier wrestling for a while. He actually was slowly trying to get back into shape so that he could do a match for his 60th birthday this year, but unfortunately he got a head injury. Sorry, he ended up losing a ton of weight, which is great. At any age, especially getting up there in years like he is, like I said, 60's super old, please. You know what I mean. After the career he's had, I should say, the physically demanding career he's had. He may only be 60, but his body has probably aged a lot more than that. So the fact that he's, trying to take care of himself was great. It's a shame he just didn't get to do the birthday match. But Mick, as one of his big things is he likes to, he's John Cena before John Cena became what John Cena is now, as far as doing stuff with the kids and stuff. So this particular photo op that Mick does this time of year when he goes to cons is he takes all the money he makes and donates it to a children's charity. So I'll have to look and see which exact one it was. I don't know if he picked a local one to where he is, or if he's just got a nationwide one that he just regularly donates to. I'm not entirely sure. But I was like, it's for a good cause, and that's going to make a really effing fantastic Christmas card photo as part of this year's Christmas card. So the photo op was supposed to be at 5:15, something like that. It's somewhere between 4:30 and 4:45. And they're like, go to this room, one of the smaller panel rooms. I was like, cool. So we get there, and the door is half open. We look inside, and there's nobody. The wrestling ring is set up in there, but there's just boxes and crap all over the place. It doesn't look like the place you're about to have a photo op, let alone a photo op with a celebrity. But we figured, somebody official will come by eventually. So we just kind of hung out there, and eventually, people started showing up and moving stuff around and taking stuff out of the room, and eventually, a guy was taking out Christmas decor and setting up Christmas trees and lights and stuff to make it more festive. And then eventually, someone official comes by, and but it wasn't the person that was going to help coordinate this particular photo shoot. He happened to be someone from GalaxyCon, and he was all like, yeah, just, stay out here until they finish setting up, and then, and then once Nick gets here, then we'll direct you. So then it's getting close to 5, and, it's looking like it's getting ready to go, and eventually Nick shows up, and we're all like, woo! But somehow Chauncey and I became those people where we were just hanging out, waiting until someone told us where to go and what to do. In the process of that, a line formed behind us. A few people came by, and they're like, is this where the Nick Foley say the picture is going to happen? We're like, yeah, we're just waiting until somebody tells us or know what to do. They're like, okay. And I look, and there's 50 people behind us in a actual line. And I was shocked. I'm like, and we've become most people, where you just kind of stand around, and other people are like, oh, this looks like it's something. Let me stand here too, and it's line. Although in our case, we formed a line actually where there should have been a line anyway, which is pure coincidence. And by happenstance and coincidence, that also meant we were first. So once they were like, okay, in you go, we got to be first. So we get there, they got steps to climb up into the ring, and there were people holding open the ropes, and I'm like, I've never been in a wrestling ring before. It's like, you can climb through, or whatever, and I'm like, what, I can't just run and slide in, and all that. So, yeah, we got there, took our picture of Big Bully, and climbed back out. Bounces on the floor of the wrestling ring, because, like I said, never been in one before. And I was like, man, it's 50. I could stand on this all the time. My knees would never hurt, ever. So, yeah, that was really cool. Still waiting for our photo to get emailed to us. That was not one that they were printing off there and then, like with the other photo ones. They were like, oh, to get it emailed to you. So, still waiting on that, but no hurry at the moment. Christmas is still several weeks away. But yeah, that was pretty cool. So then we went and changed again. Well, Chauncey did. He put on, he still had his gi pants on from the waist down. So he was like, okay, time to put on regular pants and whatever. And we met up with our friend Alan, Hangover Luke, as a lot of people know him, and went to Agave and Rye, which is right there in the strip of businesses across the street from the convention center. We ate there first year we were there. I ate there by myself last year. Because it is fantastic. The menu is different every time, which is kind of cool. It also makes it a little difficult because if you find something you really like, statistically it might not be there next time you come back. So, at least the appetizers. The appetizers have changed every single year. The tacos, not so much, because I still had one of the same tacos I had last year. But yeah, we got some adult beverages. We got an appetizer that was really cleared out my sinuses. Not that you can tell now, but we were talking about like 4 days ago. Exhibit A. But the appetizer had tahini on it, and I'd never had tahini before. I knew it was hot, and I knew it was a little spicy. I didn't realize it was that spicy. So I was not prepared for the amount of bite that these corn fritters had. So, like, otherwise it was like street corn in like fritter form. But the tahini, woo, baby! So, yeah. Next time I see tahini on the menu, I'm going to be like, maybe not. Now it's like I can have like a milkshake or something to go along with it. But yeah, we sat there and talked. We talked about conventions and stuff. It was just kind of chilled. And then we separated ways. Went back to Chauncey and I went back to our hotel room. Al went back to do his thing. And again, crashed essentially. Really easy to wear yourself out. I did the math when we got home Sunday, and according to my phone, over the course of 3 days, I walked almost 13 miles. So once again, I almost walked a half marathon over the course of 3 days, and I felt it. I still kind of feel it. That's okay. So that was Saturday. A few celebrity interactions. That was quite fun. Friend, I did get to introduce, I mentioned, I also did get to introduce Chauncey to Chris Sprout, Zan, from podcasts such as Gold Standard Oscars podcast and Ghost with the Twin Peaks podcast and Drunk Cinema with our friend Charles Gunn. And unfortunately, Zan was sick. So Zan and Chauncey did not get to meet in person yet. And then we missed Charles. Charles was there Saturday, but we just never got a chance to cross paths with him. Especially Saturday, the cell phone signal once again in the vendor room was absolute dog shit. Multiple times I would look at my phone and it would be like, SOS, no signal. So we had to just kind of rely on having agreed on where to meet people for things, and hope that, if something happens that, excuse me, that we'd be able to get a hold of somebody. Thankfully, nothing terrible happened. So, but still, this is not necessarily a GalaxyCon exclusive issue, but because I'm talking about GalaxyCon, I will throw them under the bus, as it were. Yes, a lot of people have smartphones and or tablets or phablets these days, and having an app and or a website where people can find a lot of information, especially up-to-date, the most up-to-date information, is fantastic. A lot of the vendors these days are able to take like contactless payments and or plastic. Cash is still king, but after the pandemic, obviously, we kind of became almost completely cashless for a lot of things, and haven't quite reverted back to that yet, or if we ever will. However, if you are going to post all over the place QR codes and websites for your vendors and your attendees and your volunteers to be able to access like the information they need, you need to do something about making sure that people can use their damn phones inside the vendor hall. It doesn't do anybody any good if you're all like, scan this QR code for the most up-to-date panel schedule, or scan this QR code to buy your photo ops or whatever, if you don't have any damn cell phone signal. Either find some way to boost the cell signal, which I don't know if that's possible, considering it's essentially a giant concrete room, or offer Wi-Fi. The convention center offers Wi-Fi to a point. Not really reliable, unless you are like right near the doors. Just some places. Like when I was waiting in line to pick up my badge, I was able to sign up for the Wi-Fi, and it worked for like 5 minutes, and then it refused to work again. And I never did get connected to it again the entire weekend. So yeah, if you expect people to be able to attend and participate using their cell phone, their smartphone, and or other similar devices, you need to be able to make sure that people actually can. I don't know what the answer is. That's not my wheelhouse. That's also not my problem to fix. But it is one that I hope that they do, because this is the second year in a row where, especially on Saturday, I couldn't pull up schedules, I couldn't send text messages, let alone make a phone call to try to meet up with people. I got separated from my husband. On purpose. We did purposely separate a few times, but if I needed to get all of him or he needed to get all of me for some reason, we wouldn't have been able to. So yeah, that is something that desperately needs to be worked on. Well, I don't know before something, but if you expect mobile to be continue to be a part of the convention experience. My 2 cents, though.
All right, I'm home. Frosted after bringing all that stuff in. Oh, Christmas shopping. Wait, for no one. So, anyway, so Sunday, obviously, last day, and, we had a lot to squeeze in, before the day was through. So once again, I was up before Chauncey. Woo! You'd think I'd been up the entire time. Well, I've been yawning. And I had to go find an ATM because there were, in that entire convention center, 3. And at least one of them was not functional. So, and, well, I should say, yeah, there's 3. Although I think one of them got moved, or, sure. The map said it was one place. I never found it. But there was one in a similar location, but inside the vendor hall. So I don't know if that one is one that's normally there. I can't imagine, because every event setup is going to be different, and I think it would be in the way. What do I know? Maybe it's portable. I don't know. Anyway, I wanted to find proper bank, preferably. So I ended up walking like half a mile north of the convention center. And I'd never actually been beyond the convention center before. So, and that part of the city neighborhood is actually really cool. You can tell it's like very hipster, for lack of a better term. Where it's got, little coffee shops and restaurants and boutiques and, not really chains, recognizable, like national brands or stuff like that. So I found a bank. Obviously it's Sunday, the bank's closed, but their ATM's outside. So, used their ATM and, then stopped in this, along the side streets. There was this cute little vegan cafe coffee shop. And, I'm not vegan. I'm not against people who eat vegan. Don't eat vegans. That would be weird. But I'm not against people who eat vegan. If that's your thing, go right on ahead. But I needed breakfast is what I needed. So that's exactly what I did. So I was able to get a hot beverage because it was a little chilly, and a scone, very holiday appropriate because it's cranberry and orange, and it was very good. And my beverage was very, very hot, which was nice because it wasn't that cold, but it was very windy, which made it a little nippy. So yeah, then I walked back to the convention center, beverage in one hand, prop in the other, partially eaten scone in my pocket. We'll get to the prop momentarily. And it wasn't quite door opening time yet, so I just popped the spot on the floor and waited till it got closer to door opening time. Then I went and hit the restroom. And, I finished my breakfast, got rid of my trash, then hit the restroom, washed my hands, all that fun stuff. Then stood in line, and then the doors opened, and we slowly made our way inside. And I made a beeline for Weird Al Yankovic's table. Because you all know that my almost main reason for attending this event, besides getting to hang out with some familiar faces, is to meet Weird Al and get that MacGuffin. Y'all are going to get to hear me do laundry while I finish this tale. Aren't you thrilled? You know you are. Oh, this is kind of high quality podcasting y'all have come to expect from the Fiveish Fangirls. You'll never get content like this anywhere else. I can guarantee it. Or my name ain't Rachel. Beeline, Weird Al. And the time I got there, I mean, there were probably, I don't know, 20, 25 people ahead of me. Not terrible. And the good news is the line was moving. Usually by Sunday at these things, the celebrities are pretty worn out and aren't usually moving very fast. Not Weird Al. Apparently he was right there at 10 o'clock, ready to go, which is great, because he had a very busy day ahead of him. And then Chauncey was on his way. I was like, I'll go get in line right at 10. You come down right after. We'll be good. And so we're chatting people. He showed up. And we chatted some more. He had to do some repair on our prop because I had, like I said, I'd been carrying it while I went out to get breakfast, and it hadn't fared so well. With me walking around and trying to hold on to it, well, and with the wind and other stuff in my hands. But what we had done is we had taken a box, plain white box, and I threw together just a kind of a basic logo, air quotes again, faux logo, the fictional company, and he took it and converted it into something that he could use his vinyl cutter for. I found a bunch of pictures on the internet and printed them out, and we created our own box of 1 dozen starving crazed witches. And some of y'all are laughing because you totally get the reference, and the rest of y'all are like, what the hell are you talking about, lady? And you know what? I'm not going to explain it to you. You're just going to have to go listen to the Weird Al song Albuquerque, which appears on his 1999 album Running with Scissors. And yes, you do have to listen to the entire thing for it to really make sense. So go listen to that and then come back and pick up where you left off. So those of you that understand the reference, y'all are laughing. I know you are. Everyone who was in line with us for Weird Al obviously understood the reference, and they all laughed. And then it was our turn to meet Weird Al, and he understood the reference and laughed and said he loved it. Which was awesome, because that's what we hoped for. And not only did I not forget how to speak, I did most of the talking. Chauncey kind of stood there with the box. Well, I did most of the talking. We did tell him that day, because it was December 8th, was Chauncey and I's 15th wedding anniversary. So he wished us a happy anniversary. He said I could imagine any place more romantic than a GalaxyCon meeting Weird Al. And I'm like, oh yeah, actually. This is part of the course for us, actually. And I gave him the Cliff Notes story of our last encounter. I was like, actually, 12 and a half years ago we met when you came to Indy, and I completely forgot how to speak. And so he did most, just from Chauncey, he's like, he did most of the talking, and Weird Al was like, well, you're doing a good job now. And I'm like, yay! So he signed the box for us. He wrote to the friends. I thought that was funnier than to Rachel and Chauncey. Although I'm sure he would have been amused by Chauncey's name. But I just thought the friends was kind of funnier, especially considering it was our anniversary, the day we became the friends. And I told him that we were going to see him in July when he comes through on his tour, and we were doing the meet and greet then, so we will actually see him again up close. And he's like, I look forward to it. He's like, enjoy your anniversary. You're box of dozen starving grazed weasels. And that was my my second encounter with Weird Al Yankovic. 12 and a half years later, and I didn't completely bumble it. So yay me! Once we accomplished that, we had to go back to the hotel and check out and get all our crap and take them to our respective cars. And that's where the issues with the elevators came up, because we waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. And eventually an elevator came along that had room for me and my stuff. Even though it said it was going up, I'm like, I'm getting on, because then at least I'm finally on an elevator. So I was like, I will see you when we're done, honey. That's what happened. I got on the elevator and went down to the lobby and got us properly checked out. I had my parking validated, because I needed to have that so that I could get out later when it was time to go, turn in my room key. And then I was actually able to walk partway into the convention center and find an elevator to go back up to get to the walkway that goes to the parking garage. And it actually worked out well that I was walking into the parking garage as Shelty was coming back out. So after loading his own car. So that worked out really well. So he was able to help me load my car. He got his parking validated. And we were able to go back in to the convention center. And he wanted to go get Martin Cove's autograph. And I wanted to do some shopping. And possibly buy him stuff and not let him see it. So I let him go off. And I did some shopping. And did buy some things for myself and for him. Not gonna say what. It's not Christmas yet. And then we met up right before our pro photo with Weird Al, and ended up in line with our friend Al. Al. So he had created a hangover Weird Al, essentially. Because he looks a lot like Zach Galifianakis, especially in The Hangover. So he does a lot of these mishmash hangover-inspired. Zach Galifianakis from The Hangover decided to cosplay. This is what Alan does. So he was in a Hawaiian shirt and had a little accordion, and then he's got the baby. Not a real baby. A lot of people, when they first see him, think he has an actual baby. It is a baby doll, but it is supposed to be Carlos from The Hangover. And he dresses Carlos up. And sometimes it's not Carlos, depending on what the mashup is. He has Hangover Luke, it's a porg. He's got a Hangover Ghostbusters, it's Slimer. But a lot of times it's Carlos, and then Carlos gets dressed up. So in this case, it was Carlos dressed as OG Weird Al with the crazy poofy hair, the mustache, the glasses, his own little Hawaiian shirt. So it was really cute. So we got to stand there and chat with Alan, waiting for our turn for a photo op. So he went first, got his photo op. Then we had our box of starving crazed weasels. So we went in, posed. Al, we didn't have to tell him what to do. He knew exactly what to do. And so we had that photo, and got the print, obviously. And oh my god, it turned out so well. I love it so much. Even though I kind of look like I had been attacked by some starving crazed weasels, because I have a knee brace on one little knee, because I'm old. So I require those things now, especially when I'm on my feet for a while. And then I have this huge, it looks like a giant purple bandage around part of my arm, because I'm holding the lid to the box where it says Donut King, Albuquerque, not spelled out completely, shortened, established 1999, and then the best, expiration date or whatever you want to call it. everybody calls them different. Best by, best if consumed by, best until expiration, whatever. Till Weasel Stomping Day. I'm holding the box, advertising for Donut King, and then Chauncey's got the box of the weasels, and I'm like, shock face, Weird Al's got his hands on it, doing like the scream, and then Chauncey's got the box like, ha 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 ha, weren't expecting weasels, were you? So it's an epic photo. I love it. It's on our Instagram, if you want to see it, and on our Facebook. So you can see it there too. And then Chauncey left because he wanted to go out of town, slightly out of town, to this pizza place that he discovered last time 2 years ago called Eagle Pizza. Not a sponsor, but he loves pizza in general, and anytime we go anywhere, we like to try out the local pizza. And when he discovered Eagle Pizza last time, he's like, I want to go back to Eagle Pizza, and I'm like, you go right on ahead. I'm not as big a fan of pizza as he is, but, teach their own. Beat of his own drum. And so he was like, I'm going to go to Eagle Pizza and the liquor store. I'm like, okay, go have fun. I went, and once again, I needed one more autograph I wanted to get, and the entire week, I should go back. Sorry. Giant purple bandage on my arm. Getting distracted. I don't know how I could skip over this considering I'm looking at it right now. But the giant purple bandage thing on my arm is because I'd gotten a tattoo a few hours earlier. They have GalaxyCon teamed up with River City Tattoos, which is not a particular shop. It's like a collective of local tattoo artists, I think. And they were offering tattoos there. They had a bunch of designs to choose from. They weren't really doing custom unless it was something really easy for them to put together. For the most part, you needed to pick from the pre-designed stuff. And I found one I really liked. And I was like, how much for this one? And they were like, this much. And I'm like, sold! Here's my driver's license. Here, let me sign the form. No, I'm not drunk. Yes, I've eaten recently. Yes, I'm aware this can be dangerous. This is permanent. No, I've not had any reactions in the past. All of that sort of thing. And sat down with the guy, and we had a nice chat. He's been doing tattoos for a while, and specifically at the conventions for a few years. And we talked about tattooing celebrities, having celebrities involved in other people's tattoos. It was one thing GalaxyCon was offering this year, was the Celebrity Tattoo Experience, where you could get a celebrity autograph on your person, and then they would tattoo over it. Not the celebrity, but a professional tattoo artist would tattoo it to make it permanent. And he said that a lot of it, how easy it ends up being, depends on the celebrity and their autograph style, their handwriting. Some celebrities apparently have really atrocious handwriting, some not so much. And he said actually the best signature so far, that's like the most legible and, easy to tattoo over and looks really nice, is actually Steve from Blue's Clues. So apparently Steve has a really great handwriting and knows what he's doing when writing out his signature. So I thought that was pretty awesome. And then 20 minutes, we chat for 20 minutes. And next thing you know, I am done. And he bandaged it up, obviously, because it's fresh. So I need to keep that thing safe so it doesn't get hurt. And sent me on my merry way. I will maybe post a picture by the time that this goes up. We shall see, because it's slightly over 48 hours old, so it's not as angry. The skin around it can get kind of angry and red. So it's not as angry, but it's still kind of pink. But in like a couple more days, it's gonna go from, but the ink is like still really clear. But in like another day or two, that is gonna start flaking. And the flaking phase can take a while. It just kind of depends on how fast your body decides to accept the tattoo ink. So it may be like a week or two maybe after that I may finally post it once it's gone through like that initial healing process. I tend to heal rather quickly. Tattoos are like the one thing I tend to heal quickly from. I don't know why. Everything else, stub my toe, get a paper cut, whatever. It takes forever to heal. Tattoos, for whatever reason, I healed really quickly. But for now, I'll describe it to you. So, if you know the Lord of the Rings font, that thanks to Peter Jackson, we are all familiar with. So you know that kind of elvish looking-ish font. It is that font with the phrase, every darkness must pass. So I thought that was really cool, because I don't have anything Lord of the Rings inspired yet. Well, at least Lord of the Rings inspired looking yet. Technically, my Doctor Who tattoo on my back, which is an homage to the phrase not all who wander is lost. That in itself is from Lord of the Rings. Actually, it's part of a longer poem that appears in Tolkien's work. And if you watch the extended edition of Return of the King, I believe, or maybe it's Fellowship. I don't remember. It's a scene with Aragorn and Arwen, and she repeats the poem. It's also got the phrase, all the glitter's not gold, if you've heard that phrase before. So, tangent, my Doctor Who tattoo is a Gallifreyan, is a circular Gallifreyan, and it is essentially an interpretation of not all who wander is lost, which is one of my favorite quotes. So, yeah. I'm hungry, so we're going to pause this, and I will be back before you know it. For you, it's going to be instantaneous. For me, it could be 5 minutes. It could be half an hour. I don't know yet. Because I got to figure out what to do for food. Because it's been a long time since lunch. But I will be back before you know it to finish up GalaxyCon with meeting Alex Brightman.
Alright, we're going to try and wrap this thing up with, excuse me, what person? Excuse me, the one person I had to come and go to finally get a chance to collect an autograph. Well, some celebrities had lines that would grow and be quite long and maybe capped, and then maybe be smaller down the line, different parts of the day. And then some that just had consistently long lines, like Hayden Christensen, because he was literally only there for one day. Alex Brightman had the most consistent, packed line the entire weekend. Now, granted, he was not the only person there from Has-Been Hotel, which is like the hot cartoon animated series at the moment. It's not anime, but it's just that's what apparently all the kids are watching right now. So there were a number of people, voice actors, that have done a number of things, but were also involved in Has-Been Hotel that had pretty consistent lines. But Alex, almost every time I walk by, there is somebody at the end with a sign saying, Alex Brightman's line is capped. You just have to wait till it shrinks a little, and then they put more people in and then cap it again. So it was like, after 3 on Sunday at this point, probably going on 4 on Sunday. Like, there's literally only a couple hours left of this thing. Chauncey has gone. I am still here because I am badly determined to meet Alex Brightman before I leave the show. And thankfully, while his line was capped, the VIP/FastPass line was not. My FastPass button attached to my lanyard. They let me in. Therefore, I did not have to wait terribly long. His table was absolutely, he had like 2 tables end to end, and they had like the photos and stuff you could take to bring your own thing, to get signed. And then there was him at the far end, and then like in between was this huge pile of gifts, drawings, art, crafts, whatever that his parents had made for him. And a lot of it was Has-Been Hotel, but a lot of it was also Beetlejuice, which is the whole reason I wanted to meet him and get an autograph, because he is the OG Beetlejuice in the Beetlejuice Broadway musical. And he was a fabulous Beetlejuice. I listened to the soundtrack, the cast soundtrack over and over and over and over. It's a regular rotation. And that's him. He is the juice. So that's why I wanted to meet him. So they had a couple of shots of him, not in the black and white Beetlejuice outfit, but definitely very Beetlejuice-esque. More Beetlejuice. I'm about to get married. My underage bride. Y'all are like, what? That was Beetlejuice. Musical soundtrack. There's a few people ahead of me, and, they get their turn, and then finally it's my turn, and I have Alex sign in the photo for me, and I was like, I have a question. He's like, okay. I'm like, and I purposely wore pants that I could easily enough roll up the leg as far as I could until you hit the knee brace again, because I'm old. And so right leg, as much of the fabric as possible, despite the fact that it was also a little dry. Not very good at coming, but what are you gonna do? And I was like, I have been slowly working on this leg piece of tattoos that are homages to some of my favorite shows, musicals, musical films. Insert descriptive name here. And I was like, I want to get a sandworm from Beetlejuice. It's a giant snake here. And because they're very iconic. And sandworm, which one's more iconic? Beetlejuice, Dune. Fight in the comments. You know where my loyalty lies. I was like, I want to get a sandworm, but other than one of them, all my tattoos have lyrics. A quote or a phrase or something from said show. And I was like, I can't decide what I want from Beetlejuice. And he was like, It was like, do you want it from the musical or the movie? I was like, well, preferably the musical. Something that maybe only appears in the musical is not a line. Something that's not a line that appears in both. Ultimately, he gave me a suggestion. I'm not going to tell you what it is, because it's got to be a surprise. But, you know what? I was like, I like that suggestion. I like it. When I am ready to book it, I will make sure to tell my tattoo artist that this suggestion came straight the Juice Man's mouth. So there's that. And he's cool. I also had to make sure to point out my Spam-A-Lot tattoo, because he did do a stint in Spam-A-Lot as well. yeah, he was super nice. There's still a line there. I heard some of the staff talking like, yeah, he's going to be here until the show closes. And technically the show goes on till 6. So, or at least the vendor floor is open till 6. So, so yeah, that was my last autograph that I purchased. And I think maybe I bought like a couple more things, mostly for myself and me. And I know what I like. Whatever. It's my money. So I bought a few more things, and I've always tried to put links to some of the vendors if they've got something to link to. You know, even if it's just like an Instagram or some sort of social media account. But yeah. And then I was like, I probably should go. Because at that point, like, my knee hurt, my hips hurt, my lower back hurt, my hand hurts again, carpal tunnel. Even though I hadn't really been using my hands that weekend, it just hurts. That's kind of the point where I'm at, where it's just kind of a general ache all of the time. So I I had all these bags and stuff, and I'm like, well, I went into the car and I loaded up and hopped in the car and headed out. I didn't stop to get something to eat. I was drive-through. I would have loved to have gotten more Tim Hortons, but unfortunately it was too late. But that's okay. Fast food it was. And funnily enough, because Chauncey took those detours, before he left town, we actually got home within like minutes of each other. Like he had just pulled in, and I was like 5 minutes away. So it's like, he's like, I'll just wait here. I'll help you unload the car. We just walk in together. I'm like, sweet. Got home safe and sound, unloaded, and here we are. A little less money in the wallet, but that's okay. And a bit more ink on my person, again, that's definitely okay. Blessing and curse that celebrities unfortunately cancel sometimes last minute, but Christian, we'll get him. We'll get some more of those Ted Lasso autographs. As time goes on, and yeah, as you can tell, I am tired. Post-con fatigue. So far, Concrud-ish seems to mostly stayed away. I wouldn't call current sinus situations necessarily 100% Concrud. I would also call that weather changes in the area related and allergies. But yeah, neither Chauncey and I seem to have really caught any sort of like Concrud, which is good. I had fun. We both had fun. It was a lot of fun. I like the fact that it wasn't just like sometimes Chauncey comes along with me and he's all like, humoring me, meeting these celebrities. He's like, well, I know this thing you're in, but I don't really know you. But this time he got to geek out, over somebody he had been, was a fan of, like Martin Cove, and it was both of us weird out. We were just like, and it's unfortunate that he didn't get to be Charles or Zan, but, that just means he's going to have to come back next year. So, the plan is to probably, make this a regular thing, hopefully, and maybe not always Chauncey going. It just kind of depends on what he's got going on. Unfortunately, his could be like it ramps up and then slows down a little and ramps up. It's just like there's no pattern to it, discernible pattern to it. God, I need to stop talking because at this point I am just blah. I need to download this all off my phone and edit together into something so that you guys can hear my rambling. So, yeah. Any questions, comments, whatever, about GalaxyCon or any of the experiences we had over the weekend, obviously you can hit us up, email fiveish@gmail.com, or go to our website, which has the links for all the things, all the social media accounts, all the places you can find us all over the interwebs, the book club, ways you can said, hopefully, knock on wood, we can all stay healthy long enough to get you that last regular episode of Toy 24 in the can for y'all. And yeah, all I got for now. So take care, folks, and catch you on the regular show. By the way, you got whistles on your face.
Thank you, our Fiveish fam, for joining us on this week's geeky journey. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Stay connected with us on our website, thefivishfangirls.com, and follow us on most social media with @FivishFangirls. Plus, check out our nonprofit, Fangirls Give Back, to see how we're making a positive impact in our community. Until next time, stay nerdy and let the squee continue.